Yay. Thank you everyone for being on. I'm excited about this topic because it's something we've all got to face as coaches if we want to move forward and actually make something out of this, whatever that might be. So thanks for being on tonight, or if you're watching the recording later, thanks for checking out the recording. And I'll just make sure everyone is muted here, and then you don't have to worry about any background noise. Okay, so I'm reading this book, To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. I saw him present at an event I was at, and I liked a lot of the stuff he was talking about, and this was his latest book, so I decided to check it out. And this book really kind of prompted a lot of this thinking. I think a lot of this stuff is stuff that you may have heard one way or another tonight. Sometimes it just helps to hear it again because you're in a different spot, or you can apply it to something that just happened, or you hear it from someone else. So it just helps. But then some of the stuff is pulled from this book as well. Another book that I'm sure would be great if you are wanting to focus more on the sphere of overcoming sales is one that I hear Lauren Lumberg and Lindsay Mullenbeck talk about a lot, is Sell or Be Sold, which would be a great one. Yeah, Lindsay. Okay, yeah, she's nodding her head. So the goal of this Zoom is to really just change the way we think of sales. And as I was reading this book, it's very studies and it's very fact-based. And they talk a lot about when people think of sales, they are literally picturing old school stereotypes. And the one that comes up a lot in this book is a used car salesman, where it's a situation where they've got all the information, and you just have to trust in them. So it's a very skeptical situation when you think of that. And then that's the stereotype that we hold on to. Or we're going to rope someone into some kind of you can't leave the house until you end up spending at least $100 on product at the party that you're at. There's these stereotypes that stick around from sales that a lot of people hold on to. And that's just not the way sales are anymore. If you go to a car dealership, that's not the way it is anymore. That doesn't even exist anymore. We're in a society now where no one holds all the answers, and the buyer just has to trust in the seller. The buyers have just as much information at their fingertips as the sellers do. And what matters now more than anything is the customer service that you're willing to offer instead of what you know and what they don't know. And that's the kind of world that we live in right now. So a lot of time, just think, if you have a fear of sales, it's probably, if you actually started to think about it, your fear probably has a bunch of holes in it. Your fear of being a salesperson, you're not that used car salesman who, in the book, they talk about this guy who was the top car salesman, and this is in the 70s. And he then went on to teach seminars about how to rule in sales. And his technique was find your Kowalskis. And what he would do, they walked through it, is he would call up someone in the phone book. She don't even have phone books really anymore, with the last name Kowalski, and say, "Hi, Mrs. Kowalski, your car is ready to be picked up." And she would say, "Oh, I didn't take my car in. Oh, I thought your husband had said he wanted, I must have the wrong Kowalski. Do you mind me asking, are you in the market for a new car?" And this was his whole technique that he taught to people over and over. That doesn't work anymore. We can't do that. People want to actually feel cared for instead of bamboozled into. And so in this book, he talks about this guy from the 70s, and that was his technique then. That doesn't work now. He went to the woman who's also in Michigan, because it's such a big car state, who now owns the most successful dealership in Michigan. And he said it's night and day difference. And this woman, when she's hiring people, she looks for people who have empathy and persistence. Because people are going to tell you no. People are going to come and want to check it out, want to leave, but they're going to come back. So they have that persistence. And empathy, okay, oh, you have 3 kids. They're not all fitting in your old car. I feel you. Okay, this might work. Actually putting yourself in the customer's shoes. And so just starting by realizing that, think about where your fear of sales is coming from. Is it coming from a stereotype that doesn't even apply anymore? Have you actually thought about where that fear is coming from? Just start there. And I know that it also goes into your belief into what you're doing as a coach. And if you have a lot of fear in sales, that belief definitely needs to be strengthened, but we'll get back to that. Okay, so sales is simply this. It's moving people to act differently and to part with something they value for something new of value. That's what sales is. That is everything. That is everything in life. To move people to act differently, to change their behaviors, to part with something they value for something new they might value, to part with a bag of Lay's dill pickle potato chips, which I used to frickin' value and get every time I would go through the supermarket checkout, to actually feeling better when I go to bed at night. I value that now. I had to get moved there, you know? There's a few paragraphs or just short little sections in this book that I wanted to read that I really liked. Let me read one to you here really quick. Is my voice like appealing or annoying? It's a little raspy, right? Okay, thanks, Ashley. All right, it says, physicians sell patients on a remedy, lawyers sell juries on a verdict, teachers sell students on the value of paying attention in class, entrepreneurs woo funders, writers sweet talk producers, coaches corral players. Whatever our profession, we deliver presentations to fellow employees and make pitches to new clients. We try to convince the boss to loosen up a few dollars from the budget or the human resource department to add more vacation days. We are constantly trying to move people to do something that we see as valuable. This is what we do as coaches. Okay, we're in a business. Our business is fighting for a cause. You know, we're not just fighting to have the top Shakeology sales. I'm not fighting to have the top Success Club points. I'm not fighting to, thanks, Kristen. I'm not fighting to be in the Millionaires Club. That stuff doesn't motivate me. I'm fighting for the cause of coaching. You guys know what that is. It's to end the trend of obesity. When I see people that are overweight, I want to help them if they want help. Because it doesn't feel good to carry around extra weight. It doesn't feel good no matter how many jokes someone might make about it. I know that they want to get healthier for their own future, for their family's future. That's what we're fighting for as coaches. We're trying to change people's lifestyles because our society is not set up right now to be a naturally healthy society. And our role as coaches is to show people how to make it work, to show people it is possible, to take away excuses. We're ending the trend of obesity. And yes, a sale takes place. That is like 10% of it, if even that. That's someone actually saying like, okay, I got some skin in the game. Let's do this. The real work happens after the sale takes place. Okay? I think it comes back to your beliefs. And I said this at the beginning. There is that document, The Power of Three, that many of you have probably seen. And it's something you should often revisit. And if you have coaches on your team who have a fear of sales, try and keep it simple for them. Listen, you're all on this Zoom right now because you obviously like Shakeology, you like fitness, you like coaching. You all are pretty cool. You all look really normal. No one's wearing a plaid suit. Like, we're all normal, amazing human beings. And so often I remember that and I'm just like, other people want to be part of something positive like this. Help your team remember, what is it that you love about Shakeology? I love that I can tell if I don't have my shake first thing in the morning, I eat like crap. If I try to wait for it till dinner, I completely make bad choices. It totally does help for me to have that first thing. I love that it's a vitamin that fuels my body. I didn't have to take a prenatal when I was pregnant. And I love that it's easy. I used to skip breakfast. Help your team remember what 3 things they love about Shakeology. Help your team or yourself remember, what do you love about fitness? What has it done for you? I start my day every day with a workout, whether it's 20 minutes or 45 minutes. It changes what I'm capable of doing that day. Help your team remember what they love about being part of a community like this. Walk them through that Power of 3 document. Excuse me. Sometimes we just have to look at that fear of sales, realize there's probably a lot of holes in it, and remember what it is that we love, because no one can argue with the things I love about Shakeology and it's done for me. I don't have to try and sell someone on Shakeology. I will just share with them how it's worked for me and how it could probably work for them. I like to remember how coaching started. There's a lot of network marketing businesses out there. It's a good business model for a people-to-people type of relationship. That's what this business is. But Beachbody wasn't created with, we're going to have a killer MLM. That wasn't even on Carl Deichler's radar. Remember, coaching started because they made amazing fitness products, and they realized only 20% of the people who actually bought their fitness products used them. And that bothered them. I think a lot of you are probably helpers. So there's this test called the Enneagram. I highly recommend taking it if you've never taken it. And I discovered I'm a helper on it. And it made so much sense because I could have the best paycheck ever. I could hit Success Club 10. I could rank advanced. But if I don't feel like I help someone, and none of it matters. Anyways, I really feel like that's how the leaders of Beachbody are, is they have all this money in the bank. They have made a successful business, but it didn't feel good because 80% of the people who bought their stuff never used it. They're like, no, we know this works. It's science-based. It's been proven. And so that's where the idea of coaching came from. They went to the success stories who wrote to them and said, this program changed my life, and said, listen, we want to start this thing called being a coach because it's the peer support that's missing. They didn't start this to be the next awesome way to be in a network marketing business. They started this because they knew they couldn't create the relationships that needed to happen for people to actually change their life. That is the base of coaching. The base of coaching is not sales. The base of coaching is people and believing in people and getting them to take action on what they have a moment. People have moments all the time where they see a potential for them to do something. And so often that moment will pass. But if there's someone there who reminds them of that moment, there's a good chance that they'll get back there. There's a good chance that they'll actually take action on it. That's what coaching is. Coaching is not sales. Coaching is reminding people of that small desire that they had to be a better version of themselves. So you got to remember that is how this started. Okay, some more stuff from the book that I thought was really interesting. He talks about the new role of selling and how everyone is selling. Everyone has sales in their job now. And he said there's 3 activities at the heart of non-traditional selling. And he said teaching, coaching, and instructing others is one of them. Teaching, coaching, instructing. That's part of sales. That's what we do. We're teaching, we're coaching, we're instructing constantly. The second one is serving clients and customers, being willing to offer good customer service, being willing to help your clients. And the third one is persuading and convincing others. This is coaching. This is what we're doing. We're constantly trying to persuade, to convince others that they will feel better if they work out every day. Don't ever feel bad about that. We're not convincing other people to go out and drink with us. We're not convincing other people to, try this. I don't even want to mention any other MLMs. But I believe in what we do because this is the real deal. This is not a quick fix. This isn't just a shake. This isn't just a workout program. This is actual accountability. This is actual mindset change. Whether you're traditional selling or new age selling, everyone is in sales now. And with the rise of entrepreneurship, when you're an entrepreneur, you're in sales. You're constantly selling yourself. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all selling ourselves. Statistics show that this is growing, and by the year 2020, there'll be about 65 million people in the U.S. in sales. One moment. Sorry, child. Yes, they're still awake. They're watching Frozen. So the rise of entrepreneurs is huge. For the age group 18 to 34-year-olds, either 54% of this generation wants to start their own business or already has started their own business. That's huge. Think about what that just means for coaching. You know, like so many people want to like build this amazing business from the ground up. When you can build this amazing business right here in Beachbody, bring your own feel to it, bring your own messaging to it, and partner with tools that work. You don't have to go create your own health food shake. You don't have to create your own supplement. You don't have to create your own workouts. All this stuff is here. You create your own community for people to be a part of. That's powerful. People crave community. In this book, he studies a lot of huge companies. One of the companies he studied was called Atlassian, and what they do is they create enterprise software for big governments. They work with countries all over the world. And this company no longer has salespeople. They've brought in billions of dollars in profits, and they don't have any person whose job it is to be the salesperson, to go out and sell the software, because they know that their interactions with clients is what's going to sell the software. In this book, they talk about they get a free trial. And oftentimes with that free trial, they get a free consultation call. And the consultation call isn't trying to pressure them into sign up to the next thing. It's just serving them, making sure they understand how it works and they see the value of how it could work in their government. That's what coaching is. Man, that's what a 5-day is. That's what a 14-day is. Help people see the value, see how it can fit in their life. It's the same exact thing, different scale. And I love it. They said that they don't have their employees or their team they have them read 2 books. One book is about September 11th, so they can have more empathy and appreciation for why software like this is important, why it helps governments communicate better, so it could prevent something like that happening again. And then the other book was an improv manual from a British comedian school, just because it helped improve people skills, communication skills. You know, think about that. Like, that's huge. Like, is there a book that speaks to your why? You know, for me, when I see obese children, I just get so fired up. Like, I need to go find a book or stats or a movie about that. That'll always fire me up to keep going in what I'm doing. In this book, they talk about EdMed. It's the fastest growing field of jobs nowadays. People are either going into education or they're going into medicine. And guess what? What we do is like right in the middle of both of that. So education, medicine, both huge jobs in sales where you're trying to move people to see things a certain way. Okay, I've got a couple other little things I wanted to read in here really quick. I liked, this is a teacher that he interviewed. He said, the challenge is that to move people a large distance and for the long term, we have to create the conditions where they can move themselves. The challenge is that to move people a large distance and for the long term, we have to create the conditions where they can move themselves. That is exactly what we're doing. We have to create the conditions where they can make sure that they can still motivate themselves when you're not there. You can't be there 24/7. I don't want you to be there 24/7. But can you create the conditions where they can find that in themselves to continue to move themselves? So he's talking about that as a teacher. He says, what he has discovered throughout his career is that irritation doesn't work. It might be effective in the short term, but to move people fully and deeply requires something more, not looking at the student or the patient as a pawn or a chessboard piece, but as a full participant in the game. That is exactly how we have to look at the people we work with and how I have to look at all of you. You're not just some team here to help me get to the next rank to advance. Like, no, we're all part of a bigger mission. We're all part of something so much bigger, and you're all motivated to move on your own. Same thing with your clients. Help them do that. They're not just a quick success club point. They're not a quick commission. If you see it like that, it will never feel good. If you don't see it like that, just right now, if you don't see it like that, if you're sitting here like, I'm with you, Sarah, that is totally how I feel about people, I am giving you freedom to never be scared of selling again. If you ever have that fear that this person is going to think I'm salesy pop into your head, you need to remember this moment and how you were on that Zoom and you're like, yeah, I want that for people. That is what I do for people. Because if that is how you feel, you never have to fear being salesy, ever. It is up to someone else how they decide to take your message. You are never coming from that place if that's how you feel. It's about lending my ears instead of my mouth, the teacher says in this. It means trying to elicit from people what their goals are for themselves and having the flexibility to frame what to do in that context. It's about listening to people. You know this stuff. I have a woman in my challenge right now who was like, I'm doing keto right now. I'm 5'2". I weigh 170 pounds. I'm cutting all my carbs. I'm doing keto. I want to tell her, oh, that's not exactly how I believe in nutrition, but I have to be flexible with her and I have to be willing to listen. And I was like, if I could just get her to have more micronutrients with her Shakeology and exercise, I know that will help paired with what she's doing right now. She's lost 4 pounds in 10 days since being in this group. It's not exactly the plan I want her on, but it's better. It was being flexible. I had to listen to where she was at. You know, if I try to completely change it, she's going to be like, whoa, you know, maybe it'll continue to keep changing. So we're smack dab coaching. We are smack dab into what everyone is paying thousands of dollars to go get a degree in right now, whether it's education or the medical field. We are right here. We are educating people and we are preventive medicine. Because we ask people to raise their awareness. We ask people to actually pay attention to what their doctor might have told them last time they went. We ask people to think about their family health history and what road they're going down. Listen, we don't have to have a bunch of certifications and degrees to encourage people to have more self-awareness. So that's pretty awesome. What we do is right in the middle of where everyone is going in their careers. And guess what? All those people are selling people too. They have to convince people. So many times in coaching, for me personally, I can get exhausted or burnt out because you're trying to move people. And when they don't move, it feels frustrating, right? Take some solace. And it's not just coaches who feel this. Gosh, I feel kind of bad for doctors. I bet you there's a lot of doctors out there who are like, I can't believe I have to go deal with this again. I have to go talk to this person again and try and keep a straight face and not go off on them. Man, if I was a doctor, I'd probably go off on people like after the third time and them not doing anything. So we're not alone in ever feeling burnt out because moving people takes work, but it works. Think about people that you have moved. There's a bunch of them. Think about the people here on this Zoom. Sean, I just saw your name pop up. You owned every Beachbody program until you were at a 5-day and you started finishing them. Yes. There's so many things that we can celebrate within our own team. Try to focus on that. I mentioned this a moment ago. The qualities now that they're really talking about in this book that make a good salesperson are persistence and empathy. And that is what we need to have as coaches. Persistence to keep showing up when people are going to tell you no. Have faith. People are skeptical. They need to watch. They maybe need to have a reality check of something scary happening to them. And then they know who they can turn to because they feel safe with you. They trust you. Your credibility's there. You've been there. And you know what? Some people are still going to take the low road. There's going to be coaches that still take the low road. There's always someone in an industry that takes the low road. You just gotta know that taking the high road and really being there for people is gonna always come back to you and pay you back. Empathy, simply remembering that these are human beings in front of you. When someone invests their money with you, that is a human being. That is their hard, money that they could have spent so many other places because they have faith. So be there for them. That doesn't mean that what ends up happening for them in the next month is all on you. It's all on them. All you've got to do is be there for them and give them the tools, equip them, show them how. Be willing to hold their hand, but they got to walk across there themselves. Sometimes, listen, I'm not immune to feeling the salesiness. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I just feel really salesy in this message. Ooh. And I have some things that I think about that always kind of bring me back to oh my God, this is not salesy. This is how I feel. So I thought I would end just by sharing some of those things. So one of my favorite things is to remember, stop thinking that someone signing up with me is them doing me a favor. You can't ever think that. Don't think that they are doing you a favor. You are doing them a favor. You're not begging someone so that you can get to Success Club. You're encouraging enthusiastically so they could possibly have a chance at seeing things differently, moving a little more, eating a little bit better, getting their mindset greatly changed, being surrounded by people that are like no one they may have ever experienced. So stop ever thinking that they're doing you a favor. You're doing them a favor. You got to have kind of that cocky mindset going into invitations. You're not just selling a shake. You're not selling a shake. You are selling a better life. If you got to believe that. I love Shakeology. I could talk about it all day, but I'm not just selling a shake. It's a better life. It's a better way of thinking. It's moving more, respecting your body, loving your body, choosing to look at the good over the bad. It's a community. It's a whole community. So often when I need to get myself in a better mindset, I will look at this team. Look at all these people. I said this earlier, it's worth saying again. Look at all these people. Everyone has got stuff going for them in their life. Or I'll look at someone who's in the coaching world as well, who I'm like, oh my gosh, I really look up to them. I admire them. They're pretty amazing. They said yes to coaching. Why wouldn't someone else who I admire, who is amazing, who maybe even intimidates me a little bit, why wouldn't they say yes to coaching? I think that a lot. And I think gosh, people think of me like that, which is funny, but people do. And people think of you like that. So you got to kind of remember that, there are other people out there who would say yes to this. I'm not weird. A lot of people admire what I do. Go invite some people. You never know. People start doing something because of an invitation 75% of the time. So it takes an invitation. 70% of Americans over the age of 20 are overweight, with 35% of them being obese. There's not a shortage of people to help. Okay. Sorry about that. My husband's also in Canada, so they are running around. But I just think about the crisis of people that do need help. You can go into a store and look around, and there are so many people that don't have someone to show them something better. And look, someone that I see in Walmart might not join my challenge group right away, but maybe they start seeing what I put out there on social media. Maybe they do a 5-minute workout I post. Maybe they saw that I got up early and they decide to get up early. You just will never know. You'll never know the reach of your impact. That's a really surreal, powerful thing to remember. Americans, this is what always gets me. This is what always fires me up. And so I hope this helps you if you haven't heard one that would help you already. Americans spend between $40 to $50 billion a year on weight loss. $40 to $50 billion a year on weight loss. Okay, that's the entire weight loss industry. $40 to $50 billion a year. At least 60% of that is wasted because the weight comes back on within 1 to 2 years for people. So this is everything from a shake weight to a patch, a pill, a gym membership to Beachbody. What would you rather them spend their money on? I think I want them to spend their money with me because I know I'm going to do more than a shake weight. I'm going to do more, Bay Athletic Club excluded, than most health clubs will do because I'm going to make them feel connected, part of a community. I'm going to do more than a patch will do. I'm going to do so much more for that person and give them so much more to connect to than most of the stuff out there. I want them to spend their money with me. A lot of things that they're spending their money on is more expensive than a challenge pack, than the All Access Challenge pack. More expensive. Okay? Here's the thing I need to remember, that what we're offering, I think people know that is not a quick fix. There's no it's pretty straightforward what we offer. You know, there's no curtain pulled back. There's no taking a gamble. There's no thinking you're going to roll the dice and end up lucky on this one. You know you got to put the hard work in. You know? Is that rude that I put my hand over my kid's mouth? I want them to spend their money with me because I'm so confident in what it is that we have to offer. Just mute someone who's making up their dinner. So think about that and be convicted about it because they're going to spend their money somewhere. People are going to spend their money somewhere. People spend their money on stuff that they value. People want to feel better. They want to lose weight. They want to be healthier. They're going to spend their money somewhere. And if you're not out there sharing how this works for you, how it's worked for other people, there's a good chance they're going to spend it on something and it's going to end up being wasted. And you know what? They can always get their money back if they end up hating what you had to offer. Has that ever happened to anyone? It's never happened to me. But it sure makes me feel better to know that if they end up hating it, if this goes completely haywire, we don't click, I'll send them, here's the link to get your money back. You know, they really have nothing to lose. It's just a big step to take. So I want to do one little thing here before we end. It was a cool test in this book. And I think that the best salespeople are the people who are willing to always put themselves in other people's shoes and meet them where they're at. And those are the people that help people take action to move, to take action to do something greater. So I'm going to tell you to go. We're going to snap our fingers 5 times, and then I want you to draw an E. Take your index finger. You're going to draw an E on your forehead.
Mama.
1 second. Okay, I'll be out there in a second, okay? Okay, so we're going to snap our fingers 5 times. You're going to take your index finger. You're going to draw an E on your forehead. Okay, we're all going to do this. Ready, set, snap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw your E. Okay, so in the book, they had you do it with a legit marker, but I didn't make you. I want you to think about which way you drew the E. Did you draw it so that someone looking at you can read the E? Or did you draw it so that you can see it? So does that make sense? Did you draw it so that the people looking at you can read the E? So this is a test called the E test, so creative, that shows if you're someone who's always willing to jump into someone else's perspective right away. Is that something natural for you? So if you drew it so that you guys could read the E right now, that shows that I'm willing to look like I'm willing to jump into other people's perspective right away. You're probably naturally more empathetic. If you drew it self-imposed so you can read it. Don't beat yourself up. Just be aware that maybe you need to consciously make an effort to be more empathetic, to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Maybe you start your conversations more with, I put myself in your shoes. And I was thinking about juggling what you are juggling right now. Shh. Can you please be quiet? Okay. So that might be a great thing, even with your coaches. If they're struggling to connect with people, maybe have them do that. If you're not willing to get down and walk in the shoes that someone's walking in and be willing to relate to what they're going through, it can be hard to connect. It can be hard for for people to actually want to invest with you, So I just wanted to kind of end with that. Whew, I'm like sweating because I feel like I might have a fever, but I hope that this was easy to listen to and not horribly raspy to listen to. Any questions or anything else before we go? Yeah, Carrie.
I was just curious, what was the stats on that quote again about people are going to spend their money somewhere? How many dollars did you say?
$40 to $50 billion just in the U.S. That's the one that really fires me up the most. Because look, if you don't invite your neighbor to your 5-day, I bet you your neighbor's going to do something. She's going to buy some pills. She's probably going to buy P90X off of Amazon and never tell you. Go have a conversation about it. Invite people. How many times do we hear national wake-up calls where they're like, oh, I was that coach who owned the program but refused to buy Shakeology, but then I got in the community. What you have to offer is a community. You're not selling a shake or a product. It's a community that you have to offer. And gosh, these are just tools that are going to work. Okay? These are tools that are going to work. We have stuff that people need. I need to go to the grocery store and buy stuff. I need to go get Odessa's soccer shin guards when she's in soccer. We're looking to go find guidance in some of the things that we know we need to go get. Like when I walk into stores and I feel overwhelmed, when I walk into Home Depot and I have to get something my husband asked me to get, I want someone to come help me and sell it to me. Okay, people are looking for guidance. So yeah, they're going to spend their money somewhere. Get fired up to have them spend it with you. Tell them that they are going to have better results if they are connected to you. Cool. Yay, thank you so much, you guys, for being on. I hope this was helpful for yourself and just to help your team, because when you can get past the fear of sales, you're unstoppable in this. You're unstoppable. Everyone is selling something, and what we have to sell changes freaking lives. So have an awesome night. Thanks for being on, putting your time here. Bye.